Hello guys, welcome to my channel. A cowboy is animal herder who tends cattle and ranches in North America. Traditionally, its horseback of option performs a multitude of other race-related tasks. The history American cowboy of the late 19th century arose from the vaquerie traditions of northern Mexico, become a figure of special significance and legend, a subtype called a wrangler. Especially tends the horses used to work cattle. In addition to ranch work, some cowboys work for a participate in rodeo. Cowgirls, first defined as a switch in late 19th century, had a less well documented historical role, but in the modern world work at identical tasks and have obtained considerable respect for their achievement. Cattle handlers in many other parts of the world, particularly South America and Australia, platform work similar to the cowboy. The cowboy has deep historic roots tracing back to Spain and earliest European settlers of Americas. Over the centuries, difference in terrain and climate and the influence of cattle handling traditions from multiple cultures created several distinct styles of equipment, clothing and animal handling. As the partial practical cowboy adapt to the modern world, his equipment and techniques also adapt, though many classic tradition and preserve it. The English word cowboy has origin from several aerial terms that refer to both age and to cattle tending work. The English word cowboy is derived from Becker and Spanish word for an individual who manages cattle well mounted and horseback, was derived from "vaca", meaning cow, which come from the Latin word cowboy. Was first used in print by John Shift in 1725 and was used in the British Isles from 1820 to 85 to describe young boys who tended the family or community cows. Originally thought the English word cowhead was used to describe a cattle herder, similar to shepherd and sheep herder, and often referred to free adolescent or early adolescent boy who usually work on foot. This word is very old and the English language or originating prior to the year 1000. By 1849, cowboy had developed its modern sense as an adult cattle handler of the American West. Variations on the world effort later. Cowhand effort in 1852 and cowfolk in 1881. Originally restricted to the individual who prodded cattle with long poles to load them into railroad cars from shipping. Name for a cowboy American English including vaquero, cowpoke, cowhand and cowpuncher. Another English word for a cowboy, vaquero, is an off-vaquerie Spanish pronunciation. Today, cowboy is term common throughout the West, particularly in the Great Plains and Rocky Mountains. Vaquero is used primarily in the Greatest Basin and California, and cowpuncher mostly Texas and status. Require skill and investment in horses and equipment rarely available to or interested to child. thought is some cultures boys root a donkey while going to and from Peshawar. In antiquity, herding of sheep, cattle, and goats was often the job of minors, and still is task from young people in various developing world cultures. Because of the time and physically ability needed to develop necessary skill, both and historic and modern cowboys option begins as a adolescent historical cowboys earned years as soon as the development is sufficient skill to be a hired option on young 12 or 13 is not a cliffed by injuries. Cowboys may handle cattle and horses for a lifetime. In the United States, a few women also took and the task of rancing and learned the necessary skills, so the cowgirl disguised value did not become easily recognized or acknowledged until the close of the 19th century. Of western ranches to today, the working cowboy usually an adult responsibility of herding or other livestock is no longer considered suitable for a children. Early adolescents, a boy and girls growing up brains environment of learn to ride horses and flirt from basic range skill as soon as they are physically able, usually under adult supervision. Such youth by their late teens are often given responsibility for cowboy work on the ranch. Cowboy was used to during the American Revolution to describe American fighters who offset the movement in independence and outlaw independent to lowest case. Case was called to cowboy of the ramparts due to pension and for stealing oxen, cattle, and horse from a colonist and giving them to the British. In the same period of number rampants due to stealing oxen, cattle, horse from colonists and giving them of British brands operated in Western country, which marked the dividing line between the British and American forces. These groups were made up of local farmhands who would ambush convoys and carry out raids of both sides. There are two separate groups in the Skinners, both for the pro-independence side, while the cowboys supported the British. In the area during the 1880, the term cowboy or cowboy was used pejoratively to describe men who had been implicated in browse crimes. One loosely organized band was David the Cowboys and profited from say, cattle, alcohol, and tobacco across the US-Mexico border. Wrote in editorial, cowboys are the most reckless class of outlaws in that world. Rivers become in the insult in the area to the call somehow cowboy as suggested he was the horse thief and robber outlaw. Cattlemen were generally called herders of ranches. The cowboy activities were unlimited, curtailed by the gunfight on the OK Corral and the resulting Euro bandit raid. The organization of cowboy traditions come from Spain, begins with the Hessian system. The style of cattle ranches spread throughout much of the peninsula and later was imported to the Americas. Both recognized process a dry climate was spread scarce and those large herds of cattle required vast amounts of land to obtain sufficient for the need to cover distance greater than person on foot could manage gave rise to the development of horseback mounted vehicle. Because of the Spanish Christian tradition can be traced back to the Islamic rule in Spain. Thanks for the watching this video.
and waiting for
Stop.
another video.